These intimidating yurt-like structures are in the Ópusztaszer National Heritage Park in Hungary. I visited the Ópusztaszer last year to see the Festi Korkép, a massive panoramic painting that depicts the epic arrival of the nomadic Hungarians into Europe, killing, kidnapping, and pillaging. The park itself is really interesting, though I have complicated opinions about it. On the one hand, it's extraordinarily well done. I'm fascinated by Hungarian culture and history, and the exhibits definitely appeal to that. There are somewhat realistic depictions of ancient Hungarian yurts, an herb garden with historical Hungarian plants, cool statues of historical figures like the tribal chieftains who led the Magyars into Europe, statues to semi-underrated faves in Hungarian history like Samuel Aba, the Khazar-descended early medieval king of Hungary, an old monastery, and a graveyard, a fantastic reconstruction of traditional Hungarian peasant cottages, a cool turn-of-the-century monument to the ancient King Arpad, and of course these absolutely spooky buildings inspired by yurts built by the pioneer of Hungarian organic architecture, György Csete. So, as much as I liked all that stuff, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was probably the second most nationalistic place, I've ever been. For example, the turul, a mythological bird, is often regarded as a pretty problematic symbol in Hungary, used prominently by the Arrow Cross Party in World War II and some of their sympathizers today, but its history goes back way longer than that, and I'm not going to tell you that every use of it is fascist. However, when a certain prime minister unveils this particular statue by proclaiming that the turul's image belongs to the blood and the homeland, I don't know about you, but I'm not exactly using that language all the time. The Arpad stripes, or the Arpad flag, is another symbol with a long-stretching medieval history, and that history is also tainted by its appropriation by Hungarian fascists, who admittedly do add an extra stripe onto it. Unfortunately, when I visited the Csete yurts, they were closed. They usually have, historical exhibits inside, but I did peer into one, and I saw what looked like a dusty old altar with just a great big Arpad flag right behind it. Now, of course, a historical exhibit is going to have a historical flag, but just given the abandonedness of it, how intimidating these pointy buildings are, Orbán's statements when unveiling the turul, and how generally controversial the symbolism is and how infrequently you see it in Hungary, I don't know, man, the vibes were just weird. They were weird. Don't get me wrong, I totally recommend the park, especially if you love Hungarian history as much as I do, and especially if you have my macabre fascination for Hungarian nationalism. And especially for the Festi Korkép, a masterpiece. But just fair warning about the sus parts.